Welcome to Twisted Monday. We're coming back to Twisted Metal 2. It's only been 2 months, but I played the game 3 times in a row, and now I feel like, after that relatively short hiatus, basically starting anew. So, we'll play as a very strong character, Shadow, in case I don't know what I'm doing. Shadow, driven by Mortimer, of course. What he took from them can never be forgiven or replaced. What they have hired me to do is their only hope. They are in the back right now and resting quite peacefully, but I promise they will have their revenge. And Shadow has excellent stats and everything except armor, but it still has plenty of armor. Ridiculously overpowered vehicle. We are ready for whatever they have to throw at us. And while we're waiting for the level to load in, let's look at his, manual bio. More lack of information. Unknown age, born 6 feet under, whatever that means. A keeper of lost souls, Mortimer helps those who met an untimely death get revenge on their killers. But this year he's carrying a very strange cargo that will not rest until Calypso has been taken out. License plate cremates you. I knew the level was already fighting me, but I had to read the rest. Otherwise you wouldn't know what this vehicle's license plate was. It's just slightly off screen. And we can't have that, can we? Here's the main thing that makes this vehicle fantastic. The special. I'm also getting used to this early PS1 style of graphics. I'm still going through Twisted Metal 4, which is so late in the PS1 it almost looks like a PS2 game. It's certainly much less dithered. Has very solid lines that you can make out from any sort of distance. Not so here. We'll get used to it easily enough. A sort of benefit of the reduced graphical fidelity is more generous hitboxes to make up for it. So we don't have to worry too much about accuracy. It's nice to have. Just getting in the general vicinity of a target will still cause them to explode and fly everywhere and die. Like that random civilian. Demonstrating my point. That's something that Twisted Metal 3 and 4 are certainly lacking, though. Civilians. They're just cardboard cutouts in this game. They still add a little bit of atmosphere. Much needed, in my opinion. Makes levels that much more active. Plus, 6 simultaneous enemies. They're all on the field right now. They don't spawn in periodically throughout the run, as is the case in the 989 games. Perhaps that's a technical trade-off for the improved graphical fidelity, which ultimately is not worth it, because the graphics are still very, very, very dated. Look at everyone clumped up over here. Speaking of 6 enemies altogether, gives me an opportunity to use all 4 of my specials. That's like breaking at the beginning of a pool game. Shuffling all the enemies. But they did escape. They were briefly stuck on one another. Okay, 1 down. Means they won't be clumping up quite as badly anymore. Our speed is kind of miserable. And we can't really run away from our special, which can harm ourselves. But we can only rely on it so much. I mean, we're going to rely on it a whole lot. But we will have to use other things occasionally. Good thing this is still here. Mostly because it means an enemy has not claimed it. Very much the case that Shadow is one of those vehicles where when you're playing as it, your game is that much easier because the enemy cannot have it. There can be but one Shadow, and it's us. It is among the more powerful of the AI vehicles. Twister did a lot of the damage there to get rid of Grasshopper. And more importantly, held her in place. She was coming right at me with a special. But no, stopped dead in her tracks. Literally dead in her tracks. I just need eyes on Twister. Where the hell is she? Just wandering through the fire pit. I avoid that spot as much as possible. It's pretty dangerous down there. I already have 5 more specials ready to go. So we're all set. I am shocked by how frequently this special regenerates. It really should not, for how strong it is. The damage does seem pretty variable. It's supposed to deal damage based on how far the target is from the center of the explosion. Sometimes it seems like I get a pretty solid bullseye. Still don't do very much damage. Uh-oh. That was close. Spectre was going for the full health refill. Fortunately, the special goes through walls. And I got a sort of a lucky shot there. Nothing infuriates me more than when the AI gets a full health refill. It's not the end of the world in this game, especially not when we are Shadow and our damage values are so high. But it is still very irritating. Would have added another 15-20 seconds to that level there. Before we got to Moscow. Because we use so few standard weapons, use our specials so much more frequently, we also have a very full inventory at pretty much all times. A level like this one has very limited pickups available. So that's a pretty gigantic advantage. I have been reckless though. Let's get our extremely rare health refill and play a little more carefully. Should the worst happen, we'll just reload our save. Password, rather. Saves hadn't been invented yet. Of course they had, they simply hadn't been implemented. It's hard to even imagine why they still hadn't implemented saves as a feature. Seems like a no-brainer. Then again, this game was made in less than a year. Considerably less than a year. So perhaps they simply couldn't do it. Too busy dramatically improving over the basic game structure that they presented in Twisted Metal 1. Because, yeah, that 1 year difference is unfathomable if you go back to Twisted Metal 1 and compare it directly to Twisted Metal 2. Worlds different, all for the better. The only things that are still lacking are things that were also lacking in the first game. You two stay together. We're also low enough to the ground that a lot of attacks will miss us. Particularly Sweet Tooth special. It's another one of those secret character traits. The very shape of your car. And one enemy remains. Wandering around in the pit, I actually decided to destroy all the platforms, so I can't use the beam in the middle, nor any of the power-ups that would have spawned on the platforms. But we're getting by just fine. I'm gonna go into the next level with a pretty light inventory. Trying to use my shield, but Twisted Metal 2 and its input rating for energy moves. The worst it would ever be in the whole series. They were a brand new experimental idea, which surprisingly took off. For how much focus it takes to input all the energy moves, you wouldn't think that players would respond to them and allow them to continue on throughout the entire rest of the series. They were eventually simplified, but not until 2008. This is 1996. Took a full decade and then some to make them usable, for me at least. I can use them in this game, but it caused me to make a lot of mistakes when I'm trying to use energy moves. And I expected to make a lot of mistakes in this run. Which is why I chose possibly the best character in the entire game. Shadow here. Best in terms of strongest. Because it just deals ridiculous amounts of damage with basically no downside. Vehicle's still fast, still has adequate armor. Strong all around. It's either Shadow or Axel. That would be the best car in the whole game. It really comes down to a matter of opinion, I would have to assume. Neither is objectively better than the other. I prefer Shadow because the explosion is not centered on the vehicle. You can fire it off at a distance. Used to snipe enemies once you get used to it. It does make it slightly harder to use, and it precludes you from using it in close proximity the way you would with Axel. Because if you do that, you blow yourself up. Getting multiple enemies with your special is a dream. So much damage. Gonna have to climb this fountain somehow. Don't think our vehicle's very well suited to it, but it worked. Use the ramp to its intended effect. Even though that's how it's supposed to work, it still doesn't work for a lot of vehicles. Because I'm so out of practice, that's why I picked Shadow. I wanted to do Mr. Grimm, because I always want to do Mr. Grimm. It's my favorite character. I need to talk myself out of playing as Mr. Grimm in pretty much all circumstances. And I did some practice runs as Mr. Grimm. Little too skill-based at the moment. Which is why next month I will bring back Twisted Metal 2 and play Mr. Grimm that time. Give him his fair showing. I unwisely burned one of the health refills. It almost certainly would not have been grabbed by an enemy had I just left it there. But I wanted to be extra safe. Roadkill's boomerang went all the way around me, fortunately. Okay, got plenty of specials. No health refills, though. I do gotta play it pretty safe. Okay, there's one. Okay. Eat my momentum, that's fine. I wasn't using it. Got a lot of specials, so let's make them count. There we go. That is not what I meant precisely. But it did count for somebody. So, back to Paris. Game over, 3 levels in. With the best character in the game. Rough. Also, I wanted to play as a Spectre, apparently. My bad. We'll try that again. With the correct password. Yeah, I definitely don't want to play as Spectre again. Certainly not. Okay. We are going to Paris. That's a good sign. Now there's a 1 in 12 chance I got this right. There we go. Love to see that purple. The Shadow is pretty much my second favorite vehicle in this Twisted Metal series. It's a hearse. What's not to like? If the literal Grim Reaper weren't in the game, obviously, Shadow would be number 1. That was actually my, go-to handle for video games. Was, death. Or some variation thereof as an edgy teenager. And anything I could slap a skull on would be my avatar. And I eventually matured into demonology. Get these damn trees out of my way. Everyone's stuck in an alleyway. Okay, they were stuck in an alleyway. Pathing through roads is, actually fantastic for the AI in this game. They really just don't get stuck on stuff. It's kind of impressive how well they drive. Because again, playing those 989 games, everyone gets stuck on everything. Controls are very tight and responsive. With the extremely fast vehicles, they are actually a little bit floaty. I noticed that while I was doing a little bit of practice with Mr. Grimm. So, when I do much more practice for next month, I will have to get used to that. It's gonna take some doing. It's all about compensation for shortcomings in this extremely old game. I pointed it out before, but David Jaffe, of the games that he worked on in the Twisted Metal series, ranks Twisted Metal 2 the highest, naturally, then Twisted Metal 1, and then Black. And this was before 2012 came out, so that one's not on the list. I would be kind of curious to see where it measures up to the others, but yeah, he considers Black to be the worst of the 3 games he worked on at the time, which is kind of baffling. Because it definitely feels more of like a complete game. A singular, finished experience with almost no shortcomings. Compared to Twisted Metal 2, which is wildly imbalanced. Sort of sloppy engine. And the game is built around it masterfully. Doesn't mean it isn't flawed, though. Just the devs compensated in some very brilliant ways. This is an absolute masterpiece for its time period, like one of the most impressive things a game development studio has ever done in less than a year. But compared to the overall series, I think, when they had more time and better resources, they did better things with it, in my opinion. But as usual, there's no wrong answer. Even if Twisted Metal 3 is your favorite, you're still objectively correct. Not that I would agree, but certainly entitled to your opinion. That's the thing with art. There's never, like, objectively bad art. Even Twisted Metal 3, which the developers themselves consider to be vastly inferior to all the other games in the series. Perfectly fine game in its own right. Now note, Thumper is up on the roof here, throwing napalms down onto the street for no reason. Just having himself a ride up there in a spot that he literally cannot get to because the Eiffel Tower has not yet been destroyed. He spawned there at the beginning of the level and refuses to come down because he knows he can't get back up. So he's just gonna hang out there. Maybe when he's the last guy, he will get out of his comfort zone. Engage in a bit of combat. If not, I'll have to blow up the Eiffel Tower to get to him. I certainly have 5 specials at this point. But they are pretty slow. They seem to go faster when I'm driving backwards. And that is entirely based on my own perception. Because I'm moving away from them, so obviously they would seem faster. Probably be smarter to switch to the view of my inventory that shows all the weapons that I have in a nice line. Specifically because it lets me know how many times I need to press the button in order to switch to the weapon I need at any given time. So right there I was just cycling wildly, but not so fast that I would accidentally bypass the weapon I needed. Okay, that did kill Outlaw. And Thumper stays on the roof. So we are gonna have to blow up the Eiffel Tower to get to him. But first I would like a health refill, and there's one now. Convenient. I was gonna wait for one to respawn, but the timing worked out. I'm curious, morbidly curious, if I can use my special to dethrone Thumper. Because I know exactly where he is. Got him in my sights. Looks like that hit him. Oh yeah. Brilliant. Use the tools available. Sometimes that means blow up the Eiffel Tower. Sometimes that means get some cheap shots with your wall hacking special. I love Shadow. Just the utility on this vehicle is through the roof. Oh, we're waiting for the level to load in. Let's kill some time by looking at the pedestrians. Because the level we just played through has mimes and artists, two unique pedestrians. Don't worry, if you hit him, no one will hear him scream for the mimes. And I hear red is his favorite color for the artists. Take that, art. And France. Gonna take out this statue in case we need it later. There's no in case about it, we absolutely will need it later. She had the tiniest sliver of HP left, but it was still worth using an entire special. Because deaths are much more valuable than damage. Usually. Sometimes I do try to preserve high power weapons for enemies that will take the full brunt of the damage. But usually if I have the kill, I'll go for it. Sweet Tooth is in the lava. For some reason. Making the best of it, though. I just cannot stay on that bridge, so I'll stay in the lava myself. Why not? Take Sweet Tooth's advice. He usually knows what he's doing. Should not question him so much. Everyone's waiting outside the door. Again, wall hacking special, guys. You should know better. That was your own fault. I had to teach you a lesson. So that was irritating. I actually did the inputs for the shield several times there, but because I was in Twister's special, the inputs were not being detected. Like, you actually do lose control during some points of Twister's special. If you aren't already shielded, you will get comboed by that special, which she just spammed like 4 times in a row. I couldn't do anything the entire time. Twister's a vehicle where the only reason to play as her is to deprive the AI of being able to use her. As it does some really broken things when it has Twister. Things which you cannot do. Twister's a terrible vehicle to play as yourself. But the AI cheats. For once, I actually need weapons. Also, I just realized I ran over numerous civilians in the last level. And my whole storyline is avenging civilians that have been run over in Twisted Metal. Whoops. That's called shoring up business. Because next year, they too will be purchasing my services for even greater revenge. Our special looks much more impressive when used on a low armor vehicle. So we'll just blow them up in one shot. Against Warthog, it'll take a great many. I like 4. That is still a lot. Go for the kill, go for the full health refill. Then we'll kill the last guy. No full health refill though. I wonder who got it. The only person I can think of would be Warthog because he was at full health. Okay. Roadkill's on the bridge. It's gonna have to head my way eventually. Or not. Okay, there he is. He was inside the pool. Now for Minion. Last year's boss, etc., etc. Hilarious to consider when we actually saw last year's boss. Driven by Apocalypse 9. Most assuredly not Minion. This is a horrible place to try and fight Minion. Okay, he's coming to join us in an actual combat arena. Slowly but surely. Wants to lure us back to the deadly area. Not gonna fall for that one. We'll be doing all the luring. He's just gonna keep heading towards that volcano, from which he presumably ascended before the boss fight. Actually did a perfectly timed shield there. So much so that the graphics could barely keep up. I was worried he was going for the full health refill there. But I shielded at the exact moment that I got hit with all 3 missiles of Minion Special. So we didn't even see the shield until after the fiery explosion had faded. It was like a perfect parry in a game that had timing adequate to portray such a thing. I don't think PS1 games were having parry mechanics or anything of the sort. Certainly PS2 games, though. Been streaming God of War, which has parries, but you have to unlock them. Costs like 10,000 of the upgrade points. And they're useless. And Devil May Cry, the good version of God of War. I was in good shape. Then I got frozen. Okay. We're out of there. Somehow missing the full health. There we go. Can we keep up with Outlaw? I think she was on top of the teleport point and it wouldn't let me take it. Spamming the special, and I can't get a shot on her. She can certainly get a shot on me. Through the New York fashion sign. Definitely avoiding the health pickup, and then dying from collision damage against the wall. And we went in with 0 lives. Even if I'd done well, I probably would have just driven off the edge of the building towards the end. Now we're back into it. Oh, we're loading that up. Let's see, we've seen... the skateboarder is in the first level, showing the true meaning of thrashing. And the Twisted Groupie, an excited fan of Twisted Metal, just dying to be noticed. That guy can be killed in quite a few different levels. Groupies aplenty of the Twisted Metal contestants. Get on this teleporter eventually. And just find which way is the safe exit. Should be over here. And try and get the enemies to stack up. Yeah, the Spectre special just keeps going. There we go. And we can combo things nicely because we bounce people into the air if we get a bullseye. They will land directly down, get hit again, until we eventually run out of specials. That's why our special is fantastic. So too is Axel's. That and the fact that they both do just ridiculous damage. Now, I was playing with Mr. Grimm, like I said. It is surprisingly easy to land Mr. Grimm's special, considering that that's like the balancing factor of Mr. Grimm. But hitboxes are so generous in this game. You really can actually land Mr. Grimm's special, miraculously enough. Okay. Can I get back on the roof? Thanks for the concrete barrier, yes. Just barely. Axel's here. Murdered a civilian. Try to do a jump. It's harder than it looks. There it is. I never seem to get here in time to actually see the steel box that's supposed to be on the roof here. But even when it's gone, it still has collision on top of it, so that you can platform up and get the power missile. And there's the swimmer. Got a lot of specials. I need to blow up the pool. Yeah, like the special is way too powerful. It's doing all the work. And I'm not complaining, because when I try to do the work, it's been pretty ugly. Creep our way into the locker room for a relatively useless napalm. Hilarious that I considered them useless the first time I played Twisted Metal 2. And then I played the 989 games, where they shoot into orbit before coming down to the ground. By the time they get there, if an enemy is still in that spot, it is pure coincidence. At least if you fire these ones from point blank, they should hit a target. 2 enemies left. Must have been Spectre sniping me with a special, or something like that. Yeah, Shadow's like the only vehicle that you can play the same way that the AI does. Just by spamming that special, because it regenerates way too fast, and it is way too strong. Super imbalanced vehicle. There's something charming about imbalanced vehicles in these games, but one of the big things I say is one of the impressive parts in Twisted Metal Black. Near perfect vehicle balance. Every vehicle is as viable as the next. Some that are definitely better, but only by a pretty small margin. Close call, but got through that with all my lives. Let's see if I can actually make it through Antarctica. Pretty hard level for anybody. The great equalizer, really. Partially because of the randomness of how the level happens to fall apart on you. We shall see. At least we have just enough speed that we can safely navigate away from falling platforms. I guess I'm going to spend a lot of time frozen, appropriately enough. But everyone's eagerness to freeze me has caused them to freeze one another. Okay, now I need a health refill. Once you hit this chasm, it is just total chaos. Your controls can just do whatever they feel like. Doesn't handle the angles that are present in the geometry down there. Nor on the platform to get up to that health refill. Just angles in general. Just wanted to trigger this collapse, because it always happens once you set foot on that platform. And Outlaw did not decide to vacate the premises. And there we go, free kill. I didn't expect that to work, but sure. There's Hammerhead. Saw the health bar, I did not see the monster truck. Because he was just slightly below the surface. Can try and get the full health refill. I don't like my odds. It's like a minigame in and of itself. Let's try and get this thing. And yeah, you're just a sitting duck while you're trying. You basically have one chance. After which, all the enemies will be on your case. And if you need a full health refill, you're already dead. AI using the boomerang special shockingly well. Almost scooped me right off of the platform by hitting me in that direction, using the boomerang effect. I wouldn't be able to do that. Yet there's the AI, pulling it off. I got no weapon. So Roadkill gets to continue living. Never go up there. I was trying to, but my jump misfired. Yep. Not gonna get that jump. And now the platform is heading out to sea. That was unfortunate. Roadkill went through the teleporter at the exact moment he would have exploded. Now I need to try and climb up here. Or rather, I thought I needed to climb up there, but there was no health refill, so it turns out I didn't. Still got one life left. Both the remaining enemies are critical. And I now have enough firepower to finish them off. Finally. That was mostly just lack of ammo that has kept these guys alive for so long. I haven't had the means to kill them. And another guy just accepts death. A concession from Warthog. That'll take us to Holland with no extra lives. We're an extremely strong car. I have beaten Holland without dying before. I seriously doubt I'm gonna do it right now. Not with how out of practice I am. But it's a nice, chill, laid-back playthrough. We will give it a fair chance. And when it goes awry, we will accept our fate. And in the meantime, just enjoy the ridiculous atmosphere of this level. Why did they choose this music for this level? Solely because it is vaguely farm-themed. This is still my least favorite of the Twisted Metal soundtracks. By a very small margin. It's still very good. But subjectively, I dislike a lot of the choices they made. And like the New York music and Antarctica music are both some of my favorite tracks in Twisted Metal series history. So overall, still a good soundtrack. Twisted Metal in general. all the games have really good soundtracks. We still haven't heard what I consider the best soundtrack in the series, though. Not in my videos, anyway. And, not difficult to do the process of elimination to figure out what I'm talking about there. But I'll save it for now. Yeah, the only real negative of Twisted Metal soundtracks is, when I have to replace them. Because many of them are licensed music. Not even going to use a shot to finish off Mr. Slam. Don't know why I am still playing this, honestly. So a weird thing I'm noticing is when you use your shield and your special at the same time, which you would want to do because your special can harm you, one of them will misfire. So you need to have a sort of a delay between the special activating and attempting to fire your special. So otherwise you're going to blow yourself up, or you're just going to stand there and do nothing. You'll note several times I've just stood there and done nothing after using a shield, because I'm repeatedly hitting the fire button and nothing is happening. Looks like that was right. It was technically too few inputs. The password cheat sheet that I'm using normally lists all 6 of the inputs, and we'll just put blank if blank is the correct spot. But there it just actually did not have a 6th input. It just sort of intuited that it was meant to be left blank. But it did freak me out briefly. Any vehicle is going to have some weird, subtle nuances that will take some getting used to every time you play them. And also, every time you play any level, even if you use the same vehicle twice, you're going to get a different experience. That's just the nature of Twisted Metal. It's so chaotic, so many different things could potentially happen that every time you play, you're going to see something you never saw before. It's almost roguelike in that way. That said, I could really go for a roguelike Twisted Metal. Like, go all the way. There is a car combat game that is a roguelike, but it's like a top-down 2D thing. Very, very, very simplified. Much more Binding of Isaac than Twisted Metal. The fact that it happens to be vehicles doing the combat, pretty much coincidental. Also, it has the worst flavor I've ever seen of pretty much any video game. Because it's called Death Skid Marks. Yeah. No thank you. I mean, I'm probably going to play it eventually, but I'm not thrilled about it. Trying to kill Mr. Slam, because otherwise he's going to start freezing me. Like that. There we go. Now I'm much less likely to be frozen. We got a cluster. No deaths. Tragic. They are sort of reclustering. But I'm in danger. Kidding me. Ah, well. I got lives to spare. Just hate to use them. As much as they are a valid resource. Still clumped together. That's a circumstance where it would be worth blowing yourself up to get all 4 or 5 of them there. Mr. Grimm, also with Death's Door. They're taking out my beloved windmills to avenge their fallen brethren. Anything to get rid of Axel. Yeah, the math I'm trying to do in my head is always, will this save me time if I die now? Or will it be more costly to have to reload from a password? And sometimes it will save me time. The sheer number of people that I blew up has definitely made this level go considerably faster than it otherwise could have. And at this point, since I basically have to reload anyway, it's worth it to explode there so we can get back, finish Outlaw with a full inventory. Worth it. But since we're doomed, just quit out and load up that last level. We are almost done, except for the fact that the final level is dramatically longer than all the rest. But we can handle it. Strongest vehicle in the game and all. If I get any opportunities to blow up everybody all at once, I will certainly take them. But they are unlikely because Hong Kong is gigantic. Probably should not count on anything of the sort happening. Go for the lightning strike, even though it basically just doesn't work in this game. I mean, it's good for controlling enemies. Sometimes it appears to do damage, but most of the time, enemies will just be completely uninjured, no matter how many times you strike them with lightning. Dunno why. Appears to just be a glitch. Yeah, look at Hammerhead. No injury whatsoever. Clearly being struck multiple times. That's kind of a shame. That environmental attacks simply do not work in this game. It's also very noticeable on the Moscow level, because the environmental attack should cover the entire upper level, which is basically the whole level. But they don't hurt anybody besides you. Gives you very little incentive to use them. Mr. Slam's trying to do the Mr. Slam thing. And I'm stuck on a pole. And everyone's going up to the top level, having a party to celebrate their lightning immunity. So I cannot shock them while they're up there. I briefly thought that cab was Yellow Jacket. That would have been pretty unlikely, all things considered, since Yellow Jacket is not in this game. Outlaw's going through and collecting every single health pickup, regardless of whether or not she actually needs it. She knows I might. I think I got Grasshopper with the corner of that explosion. Explosions have corners these days. These days being 1996. Uh-oh. Thumper was ready for me. Completely blocking that exit. Just absolutely denied. The AI is actually using very clever strategies right now. Gathering all the health refills. And blocking exits to the full health refill. Just everywhere I need to be, they are already there. Doing exactly what I need them not to be doing. Can we counteract this surprisingly clever AI? I mean, at this point, yes. There's nothing they can do to stop me once I get on this platform. Besides blowing me up with Spectre specials and Sweet Tooth specials. Okay, I feel adequately armed to do some retaliation. I feel like Mr. Slam had been more highly injured, but apparently not. Ricochet bombs get me the exact perfect time. I'm gonna count them as AI, even though their movement is entirely deterministic. Finally rid of him. Although Hammerhead had definitely run over Sweet Tooth at one point. Accidentally used his special. Uh-oh, I'm out of turbo, so I cannot put my fire out. Looks like it cannot kill me, but I am at 1 HP, and there are a lot of enemies up ahead. It's not even so much the damage, it's the fact that they will bounce you all over the place. Prevent you from getting where you need to go. Okay. Got a lot of specials, decent amount of health. I'm ready. They're piled up. But they are ready to freeze me right when I'm trying to take advantage. Yep, just gonna sit there for a while. Okay. Grasshopper was still alive. Obscene how much of a beating she took. 2D businessman. Sweet Tooth, perfectly primed to be finished off. And Mr. Grimm is not going to take too much damage either. But he is going to use the environmental attack. I'm going to blame him for that. I can't prove it was him. No one can prove it wasn't either. Yeah, I saw that health refill, which means I knew for a fact I'd never get there in time. Still got a chance finishing everybody off. They can easily outrun my special. But Mr. Grimm drove right into it. Okay, now I need that health refill. Outlaw did not decide to go steal it. Tried to freeze Warthog, didn't take. The freeze shot is also extremely slow moving. The projectile itself is just ridiculous how slow it moves. Need a lot more ammo, otherwise I would not touch the subway. The spot is far too dangerous. If an enemy gets in here, they can just bounce me against the roof until I am dead. But it does have one of the health refills and a lot of ammo. And there's an enemy. Both of them, in fact. They know what they're doing. Guess they're... Yep, there they are. The streets below me. Still trying to kill me. Send them airborne so as to avoid their shots. Or try. Warthog's HP is pretty obscene. Guy's not dying. Still alive. Still alive. Dead. That took all of my specials. Yeah, I just have nothing to use on Outlaw, so I just gotta go wandering again. Warthog took everything I had. The full health is back. That's how long it's been. Takes forever for that thing to respawn. Usually I do not see it twice in a single level. Resort to ramming damage. Okay, special's back. Just gotta try not to whiff it. She was waiting for me. Did a trapdoor spider on me. Impressive. The AI is pretty damn clever today. Credit where it is due. Wow, I don't believe that just happened. You better believe I used my shield, and it didn't work. And that was the final enemy. The last sliver of possible HP. But we didn't win, so back into it. Brutal. But them's the breaks in your Twisted Metal 2. So our character Mortimer, they set him up with actually a very, very interesting backstory here. He is apparently a supernatural assassin who works on behalf of the dead to get revenge. And the best they could come up with was one time making him try and defeat Calypso in a fair fight. Not just like going where Calypso lives and murdering him there. No, we actually compete by the rules that Calypso sets down, and then wish for Calypso to destroy himself. Kind of a waste of a very, very interesting character idea. Mortimer could easily be like the subject of a whole 1,000-issue anti-hero comic. But no. This is the entirety of his story. It does technically continue in Twisted Metal Head-On, but he's basically a completely different character there. He's just a sad, dead guy in that game who wants to stay dead. Drunken teens simply will not allow him to remain dead. Mortimer of this game would simply murder those teens. And then, presumably, get revenge on their behalf afterwards. Because once they're dead, they become his clientele. Still seeing a lot of HP. Like, I really don't have enough damage to deal with, like, Warthog again. And Sweet Tooth, driving around uninjured. Outlaw has a shocking amount of HP for some reason. Outlaw might also be top tier vehicle. Maybe like right below top tier. It was very strong in the first game, but it had a useless special. So in this game, it has a fantastic special. Basically any special that attacks a radius around itself is going to be really good. So, Shadow, Outlaw. Missiles are a thing of the past. Who needs them? Okay. Oh, no more weapons. Tried to blow myself up along with Warthog. Didn't quite work out. Getting rid of Outlaw would be quite the boon. But I can't do it just yet. Gotta gather all the power-ups. It's kind of surprising that even with Twisted Metal 2012, power-ups are still, like, the way they handle ammunition. By this point, it really should just be, like, automatically regenerating for all the weapons. Something like that. We've had all this time to figure out a better way. And I like the way these games handle power-ups, but We're overdue for something new. Something that would keep you dangerous at pretty much all times. Reduce the downtime and the wandering and all that stuff. A more streamlined game. Not saying it needs to replace the entirety of the basic Twisted Metal formula. Just something as an alternative. I say, when there's been 0 Twisted Metal games in over a decade. But there will be another one next year. Maybe they'll figure something out, or maybe it'll be free to play, which is the plan. I suppose even if it is free to play, it could technically be good. Probably not, but stranger things have happened. Okay, Outlaw somehow ended up in the harbor. Yep, just every time I try to fight someone, they fall in the harbor. It must have generated a bunch of special uses by now. It's been a super long time since I engaged in any combat. But no one wants to fight. They all just want to go for a swim. Someday I will try and show off that if you shoot someone over the fence, like this barrier in front of me, you get someone to bounce over that, they will fall into the water on the other side and their health will slowly deteriorate until they die. I got that to happen one time, but not on recording. No vid, no did, as they say. Here's one of the big threats out of the way. Warthog survived all the way to the conclusion last time. Number's just burning this whole town down to get to me. And it's working. Why is he not going airborne when I hit him? That's what I wanted to see. Weird spiral pattern from the napalm cone. Thought it only did an up and down sine wave, but it was very clearly doing a spiral pattern there. Oh, that's a dead end. This is what I was looking for. Nothing there, besides a dead enemy. But both health refills have been claimed. Outlaw remains. Okay, that killed her. Wildly variable damage on that special. Nothing to finish off Grasshopper with. I got her with the special, but she was flashing red, which meant her special had been activated, and it was actually working as intended. As is often the case when the AI uses that special, and rarely the case when you, the player, use it. Yeah, not only is Sweet Tooth Special doing a weird spiral thing, it's not homing properly. I don't know what was happening with Sweet Tooth there. But his father's here for some revenge. He saw that whole thing go down, and he knew I was not playing fair. So he's bringing out Darktooth. Darktooth also has the Spiral Special, and numerous other specials. It only fires unique special attacks, which are absurdly dangerous. We do actually have one chance to get the full health refill here. Try and surgically approach. Might get it. But now I can actually be harmed while I'm up here. I entered this platform at the worst possible spot. Also, weird geometry. Super awkward. That was mostly me screwing up from stress. But there's definitely some weirdness going on there. Fortunately, that was not a complete reset of all of our progress. We can start on the boss fight. Mercifully enough. See, it's not loading any opponents, because it's jumping right to Darktooth. I don't think we're gonna get Darktooth to bounce at all. Napalms are actually fantastic against Darktooth. They will be doing their full damage to him. He bounced me towards him with one of the attacks, which sealed my fate. I was just about to drive away to safety. That is something I find really, really difficult in this game, is getting away from danger. Mostly because I wait until the last possible second, and then I find it is after the last possible second, even though it shouldn't be. And our special made short work of the bulk of the vehicle. The head remains, driven by Sweet Tooth's father, unnamed in this game, but it's probably Charlie Kane. Who knows, though, so much of Twisted Metal 1 isn't actually canon. Just immediately got written out. Which is honestly fine for this series. Technically, no two games could be canon, so long as they both contain similar characters. Because only one person can possibly survive a Twisted Metal competition. And yet, Sweet Tooth's in every game, Grimm's in every game. Multiple survivors, somehow. Doesn't actually need an explanation. I'm just inclined to point out the weirdness. Nice, easy boss fight with our overpowered character, who now gets his prize.
High atop the skyscrapers of New York, Mortimer pushed his car to the limit. It had been a long, deadly fight, and he was tired. Soon, he would retire into the depths for a long day's sleep, but for now, he had a mission to complete. He met with me, the creator of Twisted Metal. Mortimer, any prize you request is yours.
I am not here for a prize, Calypso. It is I who have a gift for you.
A gift? For me? Let me see it. It was a trap. My fate had been sealed.
These are the souls of the people who have died in your contest. The poor men and women who were simply walking the streets of the world when your Twisted Metal competitors ran them down. They've hired me to take revenge on you.
Within seconds, the souls of the dead had carried me away. Some say they dropped me in the busy streets of New York. Others think I'm still being carried on the night winds. Only one man knows the truth, and that man is me. I am Calypso! And I thank you for playing Twisted Metal!
I just noticed that they actually set up Mortimer's ending in Twisted Metal Head-On. He said in the beginning, during the narration, that after he claimed his prize, he would go down to his grave for a long rest, which is exactly where Twisted Metal Head-On picks up with the Mortimer story. And I also considered that in 3 out of the 4 numbered Twisted Metal games, Mr. Grimm wishes for the soul of the host of the contest, either Calypso or, in one case, Sweet Tooth. And yet, in this game, he does not wish for that. But Mortimer does. So he's sort of a spiritual successor to Mr. Grimm in that way. In the end, it's as though I played as Mr. Grimm anyway, and had a much easier time than I otherwise would have. And still had a fairly difficult time. It's a hard game, but a very, very fun game. And I will practice it enough to show off Mr. Grimm roughly a month from now. But that's it for this week. I am Fiendly, and I thank you for watching Twisted Monday.